Graham Crowhurst, number 15 in the BMW M2. A fantastic weekend we've got here at Oulton Park. How are we looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We had a bit of trouble in testing yesterday. I had a misfire, which we were chasing for a while, and then the car wasn't handling great, but we found a few bits. So hopefully all sorted and have a good qualifying session.
Awesome, you had a great round last time at Brands with a win overall in one of the races, and of course a bit of catching up to do in one of the other races.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. We had an amazing race one, and I mean, what a way to start a season. Came from 5th on the grids in the wet to take the win, steaming up. And then, but then race 2 was a drying track, and it's not my strong point, and put a wheel wrong at Surtees and had a little kiss with the barrier. So from a win to a DNF, it was the highs and lows of racing for sure, but hopefully just highs this weekend.
Excellent stuff. It's great to see you here in the 750 Motor Club paddock, and yeah, hope you have a great weekend here.
Thank you very much.
Minutes to go, countdown boards are out. The red lights are about to go out as well. They do now. And away we go. And it's not a bad start by Graham Crowhurst from pole position. Brad Sheehan going with him. So Crowhurst is just about going to hold on into the first corner. I think they're turning their way through now. Does all of the 2 dozen or so cars, or do all of the 2 dozen or so cars get through okay? Notice that Jim Benson's right at the back there, isn't he? So we'll see how his engine is going. But we've had, we have had the change. Because Crowhurst dropped back to 3rd, hasn't he? Between Old Hall and Denton's. And it's Brad Sheehan that's now in the lead of the race from Pensaval, I think, in 2nd.
Yeah, Crowhurst went into Old Hall on the inside, and that meant he was slow on the exit, so he lost a bit of momentum and then doesn't have the power of the Class 1 cars around him. Here comes Pensaval at the inside, takes the lead away from Brad Sheehan at the Shell hairpin, and so Pensaval gets himself in front. Mike Cutt is 3rd, 4th for Crowhurst. Notice Paul Cook was bouncing across the grass coming out of Old Hall, which won't do his tyres any good after the first turn. But and also Gary Burstow, I was watching at the back of the field, overtaking about 7 cars before he even reached turn number 1. He's had a couple of lightning quick getaways today. Leaders though, down the hill into the Hislop chicane then. Pensaval leads the way, Sheehan 2nd, 3rd place Mike Cutt, all of them Class 1 cars. The Class 2 leader is Graham Crowhurst in 4th place, and there, look, comes Gary Burstow, the black, yellow and white car coming up the inside line, just about halfway through the field already. There's no doubt Burstow's got the pace, just maybe could have had a bit more patience in that first race, and he might have reached the end in one piece. Yeah, I think that's a fair comment there, Andy. So there is our 4th place man. That is number 15, Graham Crowhurst, who started, of course, on pole position, but yeah, it didn't take long for those M1 class cars to get ahead of him. Mike Cutt among them, number 44, that you can see the red car with the yellow and blue stripes down the side, but Pensaval out in front and just starting to pull away from Brad Sheehan in 2nd place. I think Cutt will be keen to get ahead of Sheehan, although we saw in the first race that Cutt was able to come from quite a long way back, wasn't he, to get the victory. Rest of the field just filtering through. Down towards the left-hander at Cascades go the leaders. There's Crowhurst on his own in 4th place. 5th is Dan Harborough. We didn't really see much of the E30 in the first race. And then 6th and 7th together. So that's Paul Cook. And, well, Paul has had a pretty good first lap and a bit, hasn't he? 7th place. Considering he was off at the first corner as well, that's all the more impressive. But he was another that used the power advantage. Well, mind you, he's a Class 2 car, isn't he? M2 car, so just an experienced racer is Paul, though, and was able to find his way through the gaps at the start. And yeah, he's into 6th already then, chasing down Dan Harborough. He's got ahead of the number 7 car of Kevin Denwood that we can see on screen. Denwood and Harborough are the top 2 BM6 class cars as well, so that's an interesting battle to watch as we get deeper into the race to see whether or not Denwood can catch Harborough and challenge for the class lead.
Interesting, from the standing start lap, Cook was faster than 2 of the cars ahead of him, that are still ahead of him, or were still ahead of him at the start of the lap, so it's a very good first lap that he has had. So there's Crowhurst, and he's just climbing up the hill now. It's the 146 car that is out in front of Pensaval from 28, Brad Sheehan in 2nd, 44, Mike Cutt in 3rd place in the red, white and blue BMW. Down the straight, under the Paul White Bridge, and here comes Cutt now, looking up the inside of Brad Sheehan at Lodge Corner, and that looked pretty easy as he went through there. No mistake on the exit of the corner, although Brad Sheehan is going to try and fight back and gets almost alongside. He's trying to be later on the brakes, but Cut covers the move off. So I think Cut now has sealed that move into second place. The question is, can he make up the 2.15 seconds to Michael Pensaval?
Well, he did in race one, but as I was speculating during that first race, it did seem that Pensaval all of a sudden lost pace, as if maybe there was a problem of some sort. So if that doesn't strike again, maybe Mike Cup will have a harder time catching him. He's not yet got away from Brad Sheehan, though, who again has a little look at the inside into Ireland, but is just slowly dropping back now. So Pensaval leads by 2.1 seconds over Cup now second, Sheehan third, Graham Crowhurst fourth, still leads in Class BM2, but of course Paul Cook is also in Class BM2, so if or maybe when he catches Graham Crowhurst, we could have a fight for the class lead there as well.
I think there's a good chance that we'll see that, isn't there? Before too much longer. 15 and a bit minutes of this race left to go. Cut so far, not really making his escape from Sheehan as they crest hilltop, drop back down now towards Hislops and then Knickerbrook for the third time in this race. Rejoining the sort of Foster circuit any moment, and then they head up the hill, up Clay Hill, towards Druids once again. So that's in a holding. Paul Cook. Well, the battle that we were hoping for was not going to happen, because Paul Cook, for the second time today, has gone up in a cloud of smoke. He's parked on the island hairpin there, I think, hasn't he? So just after Shallow's corner, and Paul Cook's day has not gone well.
Yes, it's another smoky end, isn't it, as well, as if the car is maybe overheating. The marshals are having a look at the front of the car just to see, so it's possible that damage done in the first race has come back to haunt him again in race number 2. The leaders, though, carry on undeterred. The gap is 2.4 seconds then between Pensaval and Mike Cutt. It went out by a few tenths that time around, but of course Mike Cutt was defending a little from Brad Sheehan behind him. Here's a nice battle on the screen. This is Gary Burstow continuing his charge up the order, and he's bringing with him Adrian Williams in the 67 car. These are both Class BM2 cars, and I think that was Stephen Schweikart, wasn't it? They were going up the inside of Interlodge Corner, and now they go side by side themselves across the start-finish line as Gary Burstow is under pressure now from Adrian Williams, and Williams goes up the inside and takes away 7th place. Nice move there. 2 places gained in 2 corners for Williams, and both of those 2 cars, of course, started at the back of the grid.
Yeah, so quick look at the class situation then. M1 is obviously being led by Pensaval, M2 by Crowhurst, the 6-cylinder class being led by Dan Harborough, and the Cup class by Carl McMillan in 17th position overall. But I don't think Gary Burstow's given up on getting the place back from Adrian Williams here, has he? He's in the 83 car, Williams is in the 67 car. The next car up the road is Kevin Denwood as well in 6th position, just looking at the respective lap times as well. And Denwood's lapping a smidge slower, but not an awful lot, so it might take a little bit for these two to catch Kevin Denwood and get up into 6th position. Big lock up there though for Burstow, but a better exit from the corner. We'll see when they get to Hilltop whether he managed to get past Gary Burstow there. So what's gone on there? So yeah, we've now got Adrian Williams that's dropped to the back of that group, and I think he must have a problem actually, Andy. Yeah,
the car wouldn't accelerate out of Britons. That's why Burstow nearly ran into the back of him. So that's another battle that almost ignited and then unfortunately has rather withered, with one of the cars hitting mechanical problems. So back through goes Steve Schweikart as well, who of course scored well in Class 2 in race 1. He was 2nd place in Class BM2 in the first race. He is a little bit further back this time, but still picking up some good points. Looks though as if Adrian Williams might be out of the race. At the front,
the car off, and that is, it's Cavan Granger again, isn't it? Who's been in the walls today, number 37. Walls and walls, I think, more to the point. He's rejoined there, just docking one of the, I think, retro barriers awry. He was in 16th position, but something now is, I think, rubbing on the tyre by the looks of it as a result of that incident.
Yeah, from the right-hand side, couldn't quite tell if it was front or rear. Considering that car's been beaten and battered around a bit today, it's actually looking remarkably clean. But that's its 3rd off-track excursion it's had. There is the rather slow 67 of Adrian Williams heading to the pit lane. I was about to make a point about the lead gap, which is that it's coming down, but Michael Cutt is now starting to close in on Michael Pensaval to the tune of 0.8 of a second, near enough that last time. So the lead gap is down to 1.7, and the 67 is only just going to make it into the pit lane. There's another car coming in behind as well. It's not this one, although this one is heading for the pit lane, I'm sure, of Gavin Granger, but there is a second car, black and blue one, heading into the pit lane too. Bill, no, who might this be?
Who is that? I could get the binoculars on it, I suppose, couldn't I?
Is there a number 6?
Yeah, I think that's the one. No, it is the 8 car.
Bill Redrup.
Bill Redrup, yeah, beg your pardon. Gavin Granger, you're quite right, is heading to the pit lane as well, so it's all of a sudden going to get very busy in there.
Yes, these BMWs are quite popular in the Club Enduro Championship. It's almost like we're back in the pit stop cycle of a Club Enduro race, isn't it? Leaders go back through then. The gap, I think, is down again, yet by another nearly 0.3 that time, so 1.4. The gap, as here, is a nice battle on track up at the top end of the circuit.
Yeah, 12th and 13th, Gareth Montgomery and Jordan Saywood. It looks like it's Montgomery ahead at the moment in the number 64 car, ahead of the yellow car of number 71 Saywood, the driver from Littleborough. They crest Hilltop, drop down to Hislops now, and these two drivers both running in the 6-cylinder class as well. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5th and 6th within the 6-cylinder class.
Definitely sideways there through the chicane. They may be a little down on power compared to the other cars, but still just as spectacular to watch.
Yeah, so class 6 for those cars. Back out into the race again, the number 8 of Bill Redrup, underneath our commentary box window, by the way. As with 10 minutes of the race left to go, this battle for 12th and 13th continues to rage on. In terms of Jim Benson's engine, by the way, I only mention it because it's just gone past my window and it's reminded me. It sounds a lot better in this race, and he is up into 9th position, and that is second within class 6. He's about 11 seconds behind Kevin Denwood, so we'll watch to see if that gap comes down any more in the remaining 10 minutes of the race.
Well, I think it will, because his previous lap was nearly 5 seconds quicker than Denwood, so
wow.
By that reckoning he might be able to get there before the flag.
Yeah, so Kevin Denwood might not know that's coming, because he's coming at such a rate of knots. Still this battle going on though between Montgomery and Saywood. Nice to see that, and here is an even nicer battle to see, because it's the battle for the lead, and what was 1.4 seconds just a lap ago is rather less than that now. They come up to the line, and it's very close indeed between Michael Pensaval and Mike Cutt there as they turn their way through Oulton corner for the 7th time now. Cutt still behind Pensaval at the moment, but tracking him really closely. Over towards the right hand side of the circuit, then left to take the apex at Cascades. And Jim Benson, well, he's been off the road. I don't think he's deranged those tyres, although I think that was Kevin Granger,
yeah.
But he's lost time now as he was pursuing Kevin Denwood. So that's all very strange, but the lead battle, well, that was certainly one to watch, and it still is, and they've got back markers ahead of them, Andy.
Yep, into the Shell hairpin. That's the 31 car doing its best to stay out of the way. Paul Laramie, and the next, another compact just in front as well, which equally stays out of harm's way. That's the 68, I think, of Gareth Thomas, and Pensaval now actually puts the Z3, the number 72 car, between himself and his pursuer Mike Cutt. That's Matthew Smith, sorry, who just couldn't disappear from the apex, so that's definitely benefited the race leader, Michael Pensaval, runner-up in the previous race, but it is Mike Cutt who definitely seems to have the speed advantage here. Still, we've got about 7 3/4 minutes left on the clock. Mike Cutt may have dropped back by a few car lengths through that little sequence of back markers, but I think he will close back in again as they head over Clay Hill and towards Druids, both of them pushing really hard. They both got very close to that Armco barrier coming over Deer Leap a lap ago. I remember doing a driving experience here myself once and being told by the instructor, aim for the tree as you come over Deer Leap. Well, they took that a bit literally a lap ago. They're side by side this time into Lodge Corner. There, Mike Cutt on the inside. There's almost some paint traded, and Cutt will go through. Elbowed his way through rather there. Pensaval did his best to close the door, but Mike Cutt was coming whether he liked it or not.
Yeah, and I think Pensaval eventually realised that there was possibly going to be an incident unless he did get out of the way a little bit of Mike Cutt, who was coming through, as you say, no matter what happened. So Cutt takes the lead with 7 minutes of the race left to go. Pensaval down second, it's Brad Sheehan in third place. Watching here, cars 31 and 68, so that is Paul Laramie and Gareth Thomas. They're battling within the Cup class, and I think it's now Paul Laramie, that he's just got ahead of Gareth Thomas there, so a good scrap going on between those two. Try and work out which position within the Cup class it is that they are disputing. I think it is, yeah, third place behind Clive Watson in second and Carl McMillan, who's leading this class. And this really is an excellent first step into the BMW Car Club Racing Championship. These Cup class cars, very inexpensive to build and maintain and race. So if you want to get involved in the BMW Car Club Racing Championship, then maybe this is the way into it for you.
They look good fun as well, those cars. They move around quite a bit, but the racing is very close. As you can see, they're nose to tail heading out of the Shell hairpin towards the British chicane. Laramie just keeping the number 31 car in front. We were talking about that Class BM6 battle earlier on. Dan Harbour still leading the way. That moment that Jim Benson had has dropped him down the order quite significantly, I'm afraid, and there he is, as if by magic, back on our screens, going up the inside of the number 8 car, which is laps down after his pit lane visit, Bill Redrop. So this time through, Benson, well, he was 11th a lap ago. Is he still 11th? Yes, and that puts him 5th in class. So a bit like race 1, he had a moment in race 1 and then never seemed able to recover, and then we know the engine had problems, so I wonder whether maybe the engine problems are returning.
Yeah, I guess that's a possibility, isn't it? I would hope not. Yeah, I've kind of forgotten about Dan Harborough in the lead of Class 6 because he's sort of so far up the order. He's doing a really good job, I have to say, in that car. I'm sure he'll get some plaudits for that. 5 minutes to go here at Oulton Park, and we are looking to see whether Mike Cutt can continue to pull away from Michael Pensaval. The answer on our time screen seems to be yes, because the gap's gone out to 2.5 seconds between them now. There is that battle between Paul Laramie and number 68 Gareth Thomas. Laramie getting away now from Thomas, number 68, the driver from Swindon, as they drop down towards Cascades once again. It's one of the battles to watch. Now here is Harborough, and he's got Gary Burstow right with him now. Burstow was 1.3 seconds behind at the beginning of the lap. These aren't in the same class because Burstow is a Class M2 car. It's a Class 6 car for the class leader, Dan Harborough, but nevertheless he's going to come under threat here, and the M2 class car does go through rather easily, as it should do. So Burstow gets through to 5th, Harborough down to 6th, but he's still doing a very good job within that class because he is just having a look how far ahead of Kevin Denwood he is, about 10 seconds clear of Denwood.
Yes, and Burstow is running second in Class BM2 now, but again is not going to catch Graham Crowhurst unless there's a significant problem for the class leader, because that gap is nearly 30 seconds. So that should be as good as it gets now for Burstow. 5th overall, second in class, and it's still been a decent recovery drive, this, from the back of the field. Into Lodge Corner comes Brad Sheehan. Now, is he able to close in on Michael Pensaval? I don't think he is. Pensaval's pace is still pretty strong at the moment. The race leader, Mike Cook, goes through, does a 1:49.48. Pensaval actually quicker by a 10th that time, and they're both quicker than Brad Sheehan. So the lead gap comes down fractionally to just under 2.4 seconds. Second to third is about another 2.5 seconds. And then, of course, a big gap back to Graham Crowhurst, the Class BM2 leader in the background. 3 minutes and 10 seconds still to go then. 2 more laps by my reckoning.
Yeah, no improvement on the best lap time from the earlier race in this one. Cuts done a 1:48.65. He did a 1:48.57 in the earlier race. There he is now, heading down towards the Shallows corner, the right-hand hairpin, the banked hairpin, and making his way out of it now on the power, sort of right-hand curve up to the left, right, left at Britain's, and he's looking in pretty good shape now, I would say, to make it a double win here. So first double winner of the season in terms of overall results, because Graham Crowhurst and Gary Whittaker split the wins at Brands Hatch last time out, although Gary Whittaker won the M1 class on both occasions there. Multiple BMW champion, not racing here this weekend though at Oulton Park. Pensaval got back end stepping out a little bit there, I thought, as made his way out of his lops. That's not going to catch him, help him catch Mike Cutt. who again is coming up towards some back marks, and in fact I think one of them being Jim Benson.
Yeah, that is the fight for third in Class BM6, actually. All three of these are together. So you've got Stuart Pywell, the 76, number 40 is Sean Jackson, and 59, Jim Benson, 3rd, 4th and 5th in BM6, 9th, 10th and 11th overall. So because they're fighting each other for class position, they're not going to be watching the mirrors necessarily and seeing the race leader coming through. Side by side then for third in class, and a change for third in class as Sean Jackson goes up the inside of Stuart Pywell, who then has to give way to the overall race leader, gets elbowed onto the grass, they're all wide. Oh dearie me, Jim Benson could come through with a podium place after all of this. Mike Cutt makes his way through. Benson gets past one, there's more contact there with the 40 of Sean Jackson, and has that damaged Mike Cutt's car. Mike Cutt is slow. There's problems for the race leader. I don't think there was contact, but maybe there was with the back marker, because at the very next corner, Mike Cutt has pulled off the road from the race lead. He is out of the race with less than a lap to go.
Oh, well, that is giving the thumbs up to the marshals, which the drivers have to do, and the COVID regulations these days. But Mike Cutt is okay, but out of the race, and that is so frustrating, as you say, on the final lap of the race. So that means that this man, Michael Pensaval, could well be a repeat of last season then, where Mike Cutt won one race, Michael Pensaval the other. It looks like it's going to be exactly the same situation this year, Andy.
Well, I can't quite believe that. How many dramatic last laps have we had today? It's been one of those days, really, hasn't it? And yeah, Mike Pensaval then is going to come through, it would appear, for the race victory, although I'm not giving him the victory yet, given the way that this afternoon has gone. He's just put a lap on Jim Benson. I can only assume there was a bit of contact maybe there between Cutt and it would have been the 40 of Sean Jackson, because he was on the grass as Cutt was going through. And Jim Benson's been able to work his way through into a podium place, I think, in class, because he's ahead of Sean Jackson and he's ahead of Stuart Pywell. 2 places gained. Oh, the Z3 has stopped as well. That's a shame.
Matthew Smith.
Yeah, he's off coming out of Druids.
Oh,
Oh dear.
It's all happening on the last lap, isn't it? That's the one car as well that is off. Lewis Proctor has damaged the back of that car as well, and yellow flags down there, and a bit of the circuit furniture rearranged as well. Just as well, really. It's the last lap. And there's Mike Cutt out of his car, but we should be having up to the line any moment now. Michael Pensaval is through. There he is. He takes the checkered flag. He is very pleased with that result, because he knew full well that Mike Cutt was out of the race. He gets the win then by 1.29 seconds in the end from Brad Sheehan. But drama again, Andy.
Well, yeah, what a hectic end to the race that was then. Pensaval snatching the victory. Graham Crowhurst wins in Class 2, although that gap was coming down towards the end as well. I presume he's still going to come through with the class victory. We'll have to wait and see. Next through is, that's Bill Redrop, who's lapsed down, waiting for Graham Crowhurst to appear then over the top of Deer Leap, which he should do momentarily, although he was of course a long way behind the leading 3. In Class 6, Dan Harborough will win that class. I'm pretty sure of that. He was 11 seconds ahead of Kevin Denwood coming on to the final lap. Here I can see out of the window Graham Crowhurst is on his way and will come over the hill finally with his headlights ablaze, and he will come through to win Class BM2 from Gary Burstow in second place. And the Cup class, I don't think that incident actually involved any of the leaders. It should still be Carl McMillan that comes home to win in the Cup class from Clive Watson in second, although they were quite close together as well going on to the final lap. Yeah,
so drama in the final race of the day here at Oulton Park. The win going the way of Michael Pensaval, and he is justifiably pleased with that result in his JK Motorsport run car, the number 146, the E46 M3 for the driver from Bradford. Be very happy with that result, and having lost out on the lead in both races to Mike Cutt, but getting it back in this one. So we wait for the drivers to head back into Park Fermé. Let's have a look at the results in the meantime. Michael Pensaval it is that took the win by 1.29 seconds in car 146 from number 28 Brad Sheehan in second place. Third, number 15 Graham Crowhurst. Fourth, number 83 Gary Burstow. A bit further back in fifth place, number 30 Dan Harborough winning Class 6. Crowhurst of course won Class 2. Kevin Denwood in sixth place at car number 7. Mike Cutt still showing on our screen as 7th, but he won't be classified, so it'll be Stephen Schreikart in the M2 class car that moves up to 7th. ahead of Jim Benson, who gets 3rd place within Class 6 after the engine dramas in race 1. Then Sean Jackson, Stuart Pywell, Jordan Saywood round out the top 12. And if we look a little bit further back, if we can, down into 13th position, if we can get that up. There we go. Rob Lyons was next up in car number 19, 14th to number 64, Gareth Montgomery, 15th to number 23, Thomas Singleton, 16th to number 60, Carl McMillan, then Clive Watson, Paul Laramie, Gareth Thomas, and I think that's probably going to be it, because not Luke, but Lewis Proctor was a non-finisher, as we saw down there at Shallows Corner.
Michael, fantastic. Well done out there, I'd have to say. We were watching you from the side of the track. It looked like you were on the ragged edge coming out of the last corner.
Oh yeah, we had 2 crashes on Friday. We had brake failure issues on Friday, so we crashed her twice. We repaired her midnight last night. Race 1 got a good start. The brake issues came back, so we limped her home to 2nd. Then again, I knew I'd have problems with the brakes, so I managed to get a good start, pull a lead. The brakes started going, pedals started going to the floor. Mike were catching me, but when Mike passed, I got into a rhythm and I could keep him honest. I made a mistake when he passed me actually, and I missed a gear, and yeah, and I kept him honest and I kept him under pressure, and then when he came through the back markers, they collided, so it's the first bit of luck I've had this year.
Yeah, well, I have to say, even with the brake issues, you didn't show that you had a brake issue, because we couldn't tell. I can tell you right now, you were absolutely flying down the start-finish straight, but an amazing day, amazing victory at the end there. And
2 crashes on Friday, to get pole, a 2nd and a 1st, I'll take that.
well done.
Thank you. Cheers.